chop all these siege tanks now. Those drones really desperately trying to run for their lives. There's Wednesday Night Starcraft.
vVv Gaming. A player that we cast a lot over the summer and the early fall, and then sort of disappeared for a while, and it's nice to see him back.
Yeah, definitely nice to see Murder back. We'll see how he faces off against Sasquatch. As a Matron, why don't you go ahead and introduce the players?
Well, as you mentioned, we are on MLG Antigua Shipyard, and spawning in the southern position, we've got Convergence Gaming's Sasquatch already up 1-0, spawning as the pink Zerg player, and then his opponent, the returning Terran for vVv Gaming, in the northern position is going to be the purple Terran vVv Murder.
All right, so purple versus pink. Hopefully, we'll actually be able to see those drops as they're executed. As an Overlord now flying almost due north on this map, and we'll see where he goes and what the overall plan is here for these players. Now, as we mentioned earlier, the common metagame is for Terran players. Excuse me, to go that reactor barracks Hellion opening to try to put some pressure down, but there is a ramp at the natural expansion here, so it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Hellions to gain sight and actually figure out what's going on. A spine crawler or some smart sim city here may trap a lot of those Hellions and then get them caught out of position, allowing the Zerg to get strong map control.
Curtis, just as we start this game out, I'm so happy we got through our first Terran OP discussion of the new year without coming to blows. Just makes me smile.
Well, I don't think we ever have come to blows, have we?
I know. We're actually, usually fun with it.
You know, actually, I don't think I've actually ever met you. So one of these days at an MLG event or something, I'll have to actually shake my co-caster's hand after over a year, because I think that's how long it's going to be until I finally get to meet you in person.
Yeah, we'll have to find an event that we can both go to this year. And yeah, meeting the vVv player is a lot of fun too. That's kind of why I'm a big fan of Murder, as I met him at Columbus, I believe. Yeah, I think he was at Columbus earlier in the year, and just a hell of a guy. I know I mentioned last week, but it's worth mentioning again. He is starting out with just the 1 Rax and the gas, so he can go into the fast factory and go for Hellions, or he's sort of, you know, a player that maybe isn't familiar with the current metagame. Maybe he's just going to go for more of that bio play and throw down maybe a second barracks and just go for a fast tech lab, get an early upgrade going. You know, a lot of players come back to the game and they haven't been playing for months, so they don't know, hey, I should make some Hellions. They're really good. And they sort of play the way that they used to. And sometimes it can work out because a lot of Zergs don't really know how to defend against an early, 2 or 3 racks. And all of what I just said is for naught.
Well, we'll see if Murder gets a reactor on the barracks. If he does, then it is going to be that reactor barracks play, and it is a reactor barracks, a little bit of a... Yeah, so apparently, but Sasquatch already going for a very fast macro hatch and letting Murder see this, so this is kind of strange. A third hatchery being built at the 4-minute mark, and I'm just absolutely, completely puzzled as to where he got the minerals for that and what he actually had to sacrifice.
He cut queens. He's just now finally working on that 1 queen, and by this point you'd have both queens about to finish, and you could maybe start a third. And it looks like Murder's going to try once again sort of that failed bunker play we saw in the last game, or in the last week, and he's going to push out with these first few Marines and hopefully take down and force some more Lings.
Yeah, we are going to see 5 Lings now. 1 Ling has already been taken down. Murder's going to be in a little bit of trouble. As we all know, Zerglings outrun Marines. There you go. The Marines are trying to get back into a corner. They want to be backed up into a corner, but no, cleaned up instead. So there you have it. Zerglings beating Marines in the early portion of the game. As, okay, Murder now confusing me even further. Double training Marines and adding on a tech lab.
Nice. So he is going for the Marine tank style. So I was right. It is going to be old school, quote unquote, whatever you say that 6 months ago's metagame is. I guess that's old school. And Sasquatch sort of going new school here, cutting those queens, getting out that macro hatch very quickly. He has caught back up. He's got 2 queens out, a third on the way. And we'll see how fast he takes a third once he sees that Murder is expanding here. He does have a Ling in position to sort of poke in there and see that expansion, but right now he is just producing a lot of drones and actually a roach warren. So without any scouting information besides that gas and the racks, maybe assuming some Hellions.
All right, we'll see what's going to be happening as there is 1 Hellion. So Murder just trying to tip his hand a little bit, showing a Hellion, and interesting adding a tech lab and then only training Hellions, as we should be perhaps seeing some... Nope, what is this? He is now adding a tech lab onto the barracks, and he's going to go into that bio play. And this is very old school. We'll see how all of this will work out. And what I like about having an old player once again playing in, or just trying to play in a current tournament, is seeing how old school versus new school, what's going to happen. Is new school always better, or are those old strategies like fashion where it's so old that it becomes in again, and you know, everything is just cyclical?
Yeah, I think if I was Murder, I might hide the tanks if he does come out with them, and he has yet to add the tech lab to that factory, so maybe he isn't going for tanks. At the moment, he is trying to suppress some creep, get some scouting information. He does see that roaches are out, and you know, just a few roaches at the moment. I believe that there are more on the way, though, so there's going to be 8 on the field shortly. And Murder, he really should get a siege tank going and siege tech, because he's going to have to defend against roaches.
Yeah, but right now I think Murder is really just focusing on bio. If you take a look, he's only running off of 1 gas right now, which would be the reason why he isn't going for tanks. He doesn't have enough to actually start researching siege tech. If he wants to start training up more marauders and getting some medevacs, he could add a reactor onto the factory and do that straight up Terran bio with medevacs that you normally see against Protoss as of late. We also see a 3rd command center being built by Murder, and Murder, who is currently 15 food behind, is baffling me and you, Matron, every step of the way.
Yeah, it's fun to see. We'll see how much success he has with it. I am a little bit concerned that we do see Sasquatch pushing in here for a nice 2-base sort of all in. He only has 37 drones, so he is a little bit all in with this, but he does have roaches, going to be very good against the Marines, but there are a handful of marauders out at this point. Stim is about to finish, and I think Sasquatch not going to be able to do too much damage with this all in.
Yeah, oh, but the supply depot is down. All of them are coming in, and what is going to happen here? The Banelings are all getting torched, so as the Marines and the marauders are trying to split, the Banelings are stuck behind, and Sasquatch out of position, and almost letting this trap come in, but the supply depot does need to go up. The Banelings do detonate. The Marines perhaps going to jump inside that bunker. The supply depot needs to go up as the Zerglings are able to run through. And now what is going to happen here? As Murder going to bring some SCVs off the mineral line to hold off these Zerglings, and now a new gas has been established.
Almost no damage done there. 2,500 resources lost for the Zerg player and 1,000 for Murder. And our discussion sort of comes into play here. As these 2 players, they're both on 2 bases. So 2 base versus 2 base, you cannot trade inefficiently as a Zerg in this position. And it looks like Sasquatch going to take his 3rd now, but I feel like Murder maybe in 3 or 4 minutes going to have a decent timing. Maybe he wants to wait for 1 more upgrade. He hasn't started anything, and he really needs to you know, get combat shields or something going, and then hit sort of a sick timing where the Zerg not going to have the economy or the army to defend.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen here. We can see Murder now looking to do a drop in just a moment. Siege tanks and siege techs are now being added as well. 95 compared to 81. And on top of that, Murder also has less harvesters. So less harvesters, but yet more food means that he has a substantially larger army. And with that larger army, he may actually be able to deal some damage, as Sasquatch needs to start with these creep tumors and start spreading them out and trying to get an early warning system. I believe the hatchery may end up getting canceled here if the drop does come just right, but the Zerglings are now going to make their way in. The Marines need to get picked back up. This is no good. Murder gets the heck out of dodge, realizing, oh, dropping a Marauder, doing some... is he going to drop a Marauder? Yes, and eats a couple Banelings. Nicely done.
Yes, what do you think about Murder's decision not to land that 3rd command center yet? I mean, he really could perhaps take this 3rd. I guess he might be waiting for siege tech about to finish, but he's got to know that the Zerg is trying to establish his own 3rd, and he should be relatively safe from any sort of aggression. If he's able to get up and running on those 3 bases, now that his production finally sort of caught up to his economy, he's just added 4 racks to go along with his 3 he already had. I feel like he could really expand here and then hit some sort of timing off 3 bases.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to be happening. Murder also getting the double engineering bay, also getting the armory. He wants to get massive upgrades on his Terran bio, and now laying down a lot of supply depots all at once. It looks like he's hit a very, very strong timing here as Banelings once again finding this drop. Murder going to let go and heal up all of those Marines once more, and then constantly just continue to trade here. So far, he is ahead in terms of losses, only losing 1,200 resources compared to 2,900, but we are going into Mutalist now, and unless we get some missile turrets, at least 2 at each base, they may be very difficult to handle.
Yeah, and a drop in the main of Sasquatch, and it looks like he might lose this Roach Warren. Note a pickup there, and the Roach Warren took about a third or a quarter of its health, but a number of drones did go down. It looks like 5 have been killed on the side of Sasquatch and 4 on the side of Murder. But Murder just sort of keeping the light pressure on with these drops. He's gotten up his third, and now he's working on upgrades and sort of preparing for Mutalist as well. He's got 1 missile turret. We'll see whether he adds any more. It would have been nice if that Spire could have been spotted. I'm not sure quite where it is. It looks like it's in the natural of Sasquatch, and Murder, I'm not sure if he knows about it.
Yeah, we'll see where this is all going to go. The Mutalists are now going to make their way in, and now since the Mutalists are going to engage against those Marauders and the Marines, oh, Murder losing that there, and now we should see some missile turrets being established in all of the expansion locations, as Murder needs to be careful and make sure he doesn't fall victim to those Mutalists. Mutalists now making their way around the map, 9 of them currently in that group, no more in production, as we are now also going into an infestation pit and starting to establish the gold mineral patch.
I think Murder should just attack. I don't know. I mean, he's 20 supply ahead. He's got decent tech. He's got his siege tanks out. There's not a ton of mutas, just 9 at the moment. There are a lot of lings, though, so maybe he's being defensive because of that, but he is in the advantage, and perhaps he's waiting for 200 before he pushes out, or one of these upgrades to finish.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. 1 supply depot looks like it will get taken out. Down it goes. Perhaps going to go for the reactor as well, but there is a missile turret on the south side. No Vikings in this group. The reactor is going to get lost, as the Mutalists have to be very careful. 2 of them in the red, and now a new missile turret being established. Marines finally getting into the position where they need to be, and we will be at 2-1 upgrades, and now Murder just starting his combat shield upgrade.
Yeah, a Thor coming out as well, and 2 factories, and I was a little bit concerned about the 1 factory play earlier, because he got on 3 bases, but he didn't really scale his production factory-wise. He did get a lot of barracks, so that was definitely going to help him, but he really needs tanks, and now Thors to take on these mutas and all the lings which are out.
Yeah, you're going to see that the Mutalists are going to go after some SCVs. 1 SCV now down, a 2nd SCV may get taken down as well, trying to build those missile turrets, unable to do so. As soon as 1 Thor is in position, it should be able to fend off this attack here, as the Marines finally making their way over, but are not going to be able to protect that supply depot.
And now the harassment sort of turntables. Sasquatch harassing Murder, doing a little bit of damage, not taking many losses, and now he's taking the supply lead. Just a few moments ago, Murder was at 170 to the 150 of Sasquatch. Now it's 200 to 190, so just a little bit of harassment and macroing well behind it can definitely, turn a tide.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen in these engagements. Zerglings now swarming across the center. The gold mineral patch has been scanned. Murder knows about the gold mineral patch now, and now needs to respond to it. Infestors are now being added as well, so 7 Infestors joining the army, and Infestor is going to really eat through this Terran Bioforce, and just taking too long to get relevant, as Marines are now in the center, and wow, this is a crazy battle, as Zerglings are now making my computer choppy.
Yeah, a full stim there for Murder, so he just took a ton of self-inflicted damage without doing too much to Sasquatch, so hopefully that does not come back to bite him. He's trying to get in good position here. Moving siege tanks, he needs to get sight on this high ground, whether it's a medevac or just a few Marines, but he's going to do the best he can against these Banelings and Lings. Here it comes down the ramp, all these Lings and Banelings, the Fungals as well, and I feel like this is going very well for the Zerg player, really cleaning up the Terran forces. He took down about 2/3 of them, and Murder is going to be able to push back here, but we'll see what sort of reinforcements Sasquatch coming out with.
Yeah, we'll see, as the Marines and the Marauders now cleaning up the gold mineral patch. If he can at least stop Sasquatch here, 1 more fungal growth would have done a lot of damage. The Ghost didn't get off an EMP shockwave, as the Marines and the Marauders are also going to clean up some of these creep tumors. Broodlings almost taking down a couple of these Marines, and Murder now getting back up to that advantage, up to 162, as the Zerglings are now going to swarm across the center once more.
Yeah, no siege tanks, so it's just going to be all bio, and they are stemmed down into the red and the orange, so we'll see whether the Ling's able to do much against them. Lings are 2-2 against the 2-1 bio, and it looks like they will be able to clean up, but retreating back to the siege line, and it looks like a few of those siege tanks might be taken down by these mutas, but some nice snipes coming in here by Murder, and once again we're at sort of the low population, 125, 137 to 118, and I feel like Murder definitely did a nice job taking down that that fourth for Sasquatch. I did say that Sasquatch came out with a decent trade there, but it was going to give Murder an opportunity to do some damage before those Lings came out as reinforcements for Sasquatch, and Murder, I think, did the damage that he really needed to, taking down the gold.
Yeah, Marines now making their way off. I don't know quite where they're going to go. There's some cleaning up there. Creep tumors are going to get destroyed. Marines jumping inside the medevac just in time, but just in time to only see some Mutilas come in. Marines are now going to try to fight back here. Medevac will get taken down, but at least trying to deal some damage while there are going to be losses.
Yeah, so we'll see whether Murder is able to get this gold up and running. He's got to get in a decent siege position, and Sasquatch really doesn't have the forces to contest this right now. He needs to rally out some more Lings. It looks like 34 on the way, 3 Infestors and 4 Ultralists. Drudon Glands about a third of the way done, as well as the 3-3 coming. So Sasquatch going to be very scary in about 100 game seconds when all these upgrades finish, and I think the Murder definitely needs to be at 200 maxed out army by the time the next engagement happens.
Definitely. We're also seeing the command center upgrading to the planetary fortress. There's a fungal growth, but an EMP shockwave follows it up. We may see the Zerglings trying to turn around, but the planetary fortress is operational with that additional +2 armor, and the planetary fortress should be able to fight all of this back. The Marines are not going to be able to do much. Siege tanks, the best bet would be to try to drop those infested Terrans inside the actual SCV mineral line in order to deal that damage.
Yeah, and Murder actually has some trapped siege tanks and Thors in his natural, where he right between his natural and his third, where he made those 2 extra factories. So we'll see if he could use an extra Thor in the next battle.
Ultralisk now chomping away at the backdoor rocks here at the third base. I don't believe Murder does know about it. If he is watching the minimap, he should see it. And this is really bad news, as those Ultralisks can simply just walk up the ramp. In come the Zerglings and the Infestors now. It is going to be a little bit of a choke point. What's going to be happening here? Missile turrets firing by, and now Marines and Thors are going to engage. The Zerglings are not going to be able to find their targets, as the Infestors are on the low ground, or the high ground, unable to engage at all. The Thors able to just shoot all of those units there, and I think Murder definitely got the winning edge in that battle.
Oh yeah, definitely. He was able to react fast enough that he was able to get in decent position, and sort of the Sim City with the barracks and the command center there, and that ramp really made it so he got a better piece of that. But now we see Sasquatch taking on this gold base, and it looks like he might take down the gold with these ultras. At the same time, Murder a little bit slow with his army. He was just pulled to his third, so he loses the base there sort of uncontested, and Sasquatch just pulls back with those ultras and those infestors. He's going to save them for the next encounter.
Yeah, we'll see what's going to happen. Double command centers now being built instead. Perhaps one will be, or if we have double planetary fortresses, even more difficult to take down. Sasquatch doesn't have any drones at this hatchery, so this is going to be a run all for naught, as there's not much going on here, and it may catch all those units out of position. Zergling's now trying to attack up there, unable to do anything, but now it's going to mean that the entire low ground is going to be easy pickings. Banelings now simply going to get detonated here. Marine siege tanks, Marauders, are they going to be able to engage? Jumping inside, and now we have siege tanks battling out as the planetary fortresses are going to fall. And what is Murder going to do? Murder could just walk straight south and come in with a very strong counterattack. All of those Ultralists are out of position, but no, he's going to regroup with the rest of his army, and it is still 3 bases, essentially to 5, as Sasquatch loses a hatchery here at the 6 o'clock position.
Yeah, that was a big drop we didn't see there, as he's just on the 4 mining bases. He's basically got mined out in his main and his natural. He does have that gold, though, and Murder just has the 1 base as third, so he really needs to establish this gold, maybe make the command center in a little bit more of a safe position. But I feel like Murder could just push and win right now if he gets decent siege position.
Definitely, you can see that he does have a lot of units here. Siege tanks are upgraded 1-0. Now going to get 3-3 upgrades on those Marines and Marauders in just a moment. And as long as he has medevacs, he can keep his army alive. The problem is going to be dealing with all of these Ultralists. SCVs, you see, perhaps they're going to do some long-distance mining. No, they're just hanging around by the gold mineral patches, not doing anything at all. They should really get away from there. They do not want to be in that engagement, as what is happening, as we're going to see perhaps a little bit of a yin and yang, as the units are now trying to push in.
Yeah, Murder once again going for this gold, but he's in decent siege position, ready for a big Zerg defense here, but instead Sasquatch going to be going for the counter, and he's going to be knocking on the front door in the production structures of Murder. And now that those trapped siege tanks and Thor come into play a little bit, doing some damage against these Lings, but Murder was able to take down that gold in a big encounter in the center. We'll see whether any snipes or EMP is able to go off. A few EMPs, making those infestors relatively worthless, but they have done their damage already with a few nice fungals. Murder trading sort of effectively here, taking down a number of ultras, and I feel like Murder definitely needs to keep the Zerg just on the one mining base at the third, and if it's just one base against one base, he's in a decent position, but Zerg has established that 6 o'clock base once again.
Yeah, you can see more medevacs are being brought over. The medevacs, all of them pretty much low on energy as well. And we can also see that a lot of gas being saved up by Murder. He could get more medevacs, but he also needs to replenish his units. 3-3 upgrades have been completed. Long distance mining for Sasquatch now cut short as he does hold that 6 o'clock position. And a command center now finally making its way to the center. Not quite sure why Murder hasn't lifted off one of his starting orbital commands into position there, as that would have given him a much stronger economy at this stage.
Yeah, he definitely needs that gold, if not another base. But if he's able to get on this gold and get in a decent position and sort of defend it, I feel like he has this game in a good position. Oh, here comes a Cloak Ghost. We'll see whether it's able to do any EMPs on the Infestors. The Infestors have a decent spread, so the Ghosts do get one EMP off, and it's going to take about 100 energy all told, so a decent trade there for free. But Murder is going to get up this this gold, and it's going to be a planetary fortress. And I feel like moving to take down the fourth of the Zerg in the eastern position earlier was just a bad decision, losing that gold. So finally making it right, getting back on it.
All right, just really interesting ghost play by Murder. Murder getting ghosts and then using them pretty effectively. We'll see what's going to happen. Poor infested Terrans getting destroyed the moment they come out just a little bit. And we can now see it is 2 bases to 1. The planetary fortress has just completed, so that is going to be a very, very nice location for Murder to try to hold off any units. Marines now in the center, perhaps going to take down some overlords. No, a large group of infestors now looking to come in once more. And now we do have Ultras along the left as well. What are these units going to do, as that center king of the hill is going to matter very, very much?
Yeah, when you see Murder pushing up, he's not in siege mode, so Zerg could take this opportunity to push down, but he just doesn't have enough to sort of push all in. And now he's giving Murder the opportunity to take the top, and he will be the king of the hill. He's taken that tower. Now he's going to have control over both gold bases. He's going to know exactly where Sasquatch is moving.
Yeah, so we'll see what's going to happen here as the Infestors are now moving around the far side. The problem with the Infestors is that they need energy to be effective, and there hasn't really been that much energy as of yet. Ghost now looking to come in. The medevacs, oh, a fungal growth hits them. 1 medevac may get destroyed. 2 medevacs get taken out. Another chain fungal growth. An EMP shockwave needs to come in. There you go. No more, oh no, more fungal growth. All the medevacs are down, and that is going to make that army much weaker as we still have a round to go.
That's going to make Stim very tough for Murder, and already Sasquatch has baited out a lot of Stims from Murder when they didn't actually engage, so Murder might be a little bit trigger happy with that Stim, and now that he has lost all those medevacs, could be huge. He had 9 to 10 medevacs there, just now double producing them, but that is going to eat into his gas a little bit. He definitely can afford it, but we do see Sasquatch establishing more mining bases along the south portion, so he's getting in decent position himself.
Yeah, we'll see where this is all going to go. There are infestors still scampering around over here on the east side of the map. The planetary fortress is getting some mules and transferring some more SCVs as well. There's only 1 mining base, but it is a gold check. That should definitely help, as the Marauders and the Marines are holding on to the center, and no one wants to really engage at this point. Zerglings, infestors, Ultralists, we'll see what's going to happen, as it doesn't look like anyone's just quite ready to make a large move.
As you mentioned earlier, I'm surprised that Murder hasn't lifted up one of his original orbital commands and landed now in this north position, especially since Zerg has sort of given up the tower. We do see a run-by here, or a slow run-by with Marauders, and they are going to be able to take down this southern hatchery. So the 6 o'clock will go down, and a quick pickup there by Murder, so very nice play by him. And if he's able to take down this other hatchery, it could really shut down the economy of Sasquatch.
Yeah, we'll see what's gonna come of this. I would have actually liked to see Murder perhaps do a drop in the main. The main has been pretty much unguarded, and taking down the hive, taking down the banelings, and some of the hatcheries and spawning pools would really reset things as well. So we'll see what these units are gonna do. I believe the medevacs are just out of sight. If the infestors move away, perhaps not expecting that the marauders are there, they could snipe down another hatchery, and that could spell trouble.
As I was mentioning before, I think that the north position is a good choice for Murder at this point because of the way that the Zerg is now expanding. Zerg's not able to take and hold that gold, so instead sort of pushing along the southern edge. As we see the Marauders drop once again, they might be able to take down this hatchery. Hatchery does go down, another pickup comes here, and I think those infestors might, yep, they're going to make those medevacs pay for that. All those hatcheries have just been taken down, but Sasquatch is going to have 0 income for the moment.
Yeah, no income right now, and pretty much there's only 3 mineral patches here, and now who has the advantage? Murder versus Sasquatch and you can see oversaturation in at the gold now. Still no lifting off. We are expanding over here at the 9 o'clock expansion location as the infestors are now trying to make their moves. Infestors, Zerglings, Marauders, and Marines, siege tanks blasting it through. There's a lot of infestors here. Fungal growth coming in, EMP shockwave coming in as well. And is there going to be enough as the Sasquatch's units? And there's the GG. Wow. Well played.